Did you by chance get a chance to read the 24th Gene Key?
I didn't finish it. No, I didn't finish it, not at all. Every time I got started in read, I was ready. I was tired. Yeah.
I started to read it just as you said, okay, let's do it. I think that was a reminder for me to read it as well, because I have it twice in my profile, and you have it twice in
Hmm.
your profile in different
Yeah.
places.
Yeah. What I was reading though was interesting, and it felt pertinent, to what I'm dealing with. So
Yeah,
definitely.
I just did a reading for a friend who who does like oracle and tarot reading kind of stuff, and he's like,
Hmm.
I am I am shocked at how extremely accurate everything you said was. It's not
Yeah.
me. I'm just following interpreting it.
Yeah. But I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same. When anytime I've thus far, every experience I've had with any of this stuff has been just wow. Yeah.
Well, I look at it for myself as a mental health tool. You know, even though it is spiritual, it doesn't have to be spiritual. You can be any religion, makes no difference. But
Yeah.
it's, they talk about knowing the man in the mirror, but nobody tells you how to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No good. No good tools. Yeah.
that's how I use it as, it's those tools. Do you understand what I'm doing or practicing here?
It's gene keys, or
Well, it's the gene keys. And do you understand what the line numbers are?
I don't. I'm not. All of this is brand new to me. Stacy,
Uh,
I heard her doing Zach's reading, and it blew my mind. And then I immediately went and purchased a reading from her. You
oh,
know.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, well, the way the I Ching is made up, I'll give you the simple definition. If you take three coins and you drop them randomly, you're going to get heads, tails, heads, 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 heads. There are six possibilities. Now, if you do that a second time, you get the lower and the upper trigram. There are a total of 64 possibilities.
Okay.
Now, the Chinese 6,000 years ago figured out that, okay, there are 64 possibilities in life. And that's what the I Ching is.
Mm-hmm.
It was a way to govern society looking at what all these possible combinations are. Now, what I'm doing is each I Ching has a line of 1 through 6. I erase the I Ching part of it, and I'm just reading the lines. And that's, if you can see, I took I took the whole I Ching part out so I don't cheat. But each of the lines is significant depending on which of the I Ching. But this by itself is really powerful. So you are what's considered, and I want to make sure I have the birth information right. July 31st, 1976, at 1300 hours 30. That's military. Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay. So you're what's considered a 2-4 profile. The first, your life's work and evolution are second line, and your radiance and purpose are fourth line. So in human design, that's called the hermit opportunist. Um, in Gene Keys, they call the second line the dancer. Um, but the aspect of the hermit is it's probably one of the friendliest keys, but it needs time and space alone. It needs its own place that's just theirs. It needs time not to be fucked with, to do whatever it is you need to do, whether it's reflection, study, entertain yourself, but you need that alone time. Which is funny because the opportunist is the complete opposite. It's the social, it's the needing to connect, it's the so you have a built-in within you. Can't think of the word I'm looking for. Opposites. That wasn't quite the word.
Like a checks and balances.
Right. The second, and the hermit is very playful. It can be very childlike. It likes that innocence. One of the keys for you is to follow what are your natural gifts. And also, if you don't know what those are, find out what those are. The gene keys has the first 4 keys are all about what your gifts and your genius are. And it's also what are the shadows and obstacles to overcome. One of the line between life's work and evolution, it's sort of what is your biggest challenge in life? And it is the wound of denial. And the way denial is healed is through ease. Ease is no pressure, not trying to change anything. It is what it is, but just noticing and recognizing. And the negative side is that you can blame. By blame, it's looking at life circumstance, how you're feeling. It's your fault. It's somebody else's fault. They made me feel this way. It's because of them this happened in life. No. It's all, when you get to a place of self-responsibility, you look at, okay, they did this. I'm responding. It's my choice if I'm going to feel this, this, or this. And you take the blame off of them and you put the responsibility on yourself. That is my whole radiation. I have victim as my radiance. So it's all about understanding whether I'm in victim mentality or I'm in the gift, which is freedom, free from suffering. So for you, your radiance is what I have in 2 places, the 24th gene key. But I'm just going to read the line and the gift. The gift in your evolution is sensitivity. As you learn these lessons, you become sensitive to others and yourself. And the gift in your life's work is mindfulness. Mindfulness is basically an observer type outlook. You can see these things happening and you're just aware of. The gift in the 24th is invention. And in the Gene Keys cards, if you've ever seen these, they depict.
I've seen them, yeah.
For the 24th key, they use the face of Einstein. Einstein had this key in multiple places, I believe, but it's when you allow yourself to allow the silence and just be still, that invention just comes to you.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. It's amazing.
Yeah, you were just talking about it yesterday. And invention can also be manifesting.
Yeah.
The wound within the fourth line is rejection. And the shadow aspect of the fourth line can be overgiving. And it can also be manipulative or manipulating or corruption. You were just talking about being the volunteered driver, just be aware of what you have to give and what your limits are. If your limits are overtaking what you need for self-care or self-love, then you need to say no and not use your superpowers to manipulate. Do it from a place of, if you need this, just say, I need this. Don't do a bunch of stuff to make this happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
The real positive sides are, and the healing is honesty. Honesty with others, honesty with yourself, and most of all, honesty from others. Integrity. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. And softness and romance are also aspects of the fourth line. Now, it's interesting, the purpose sphere at the bottom does two things. It's the ending of the first path, which is your genius and your gifts, but it's also the beginning of the second path, which is called the Venus sequence. And I just finished a 6-month deep dive into the Venus with people all over the entire globe. There's like close to 3,000 people that did it. But it's how you love. And it's also, it goes into childhood development, but it goes backwards from the intellect back to what energy you brought into this life. So your purpose in life is also your purpose in relationships. It's how you learn from dealing with your significant people, whether that's children, whether that's a partner. And the fourth line there is all about breath and rhythm, knowing what your personal rhythm is. Now that you find out that you're a reflector's rhythm is very different than most people. So you have to really figure out what that means for you. And pay attention to your breath. Slowing down, just noticing your own rhythm and your breath. And the gift within that key is teamwork. I want to cheat and look and see what I don't have them all memorized so that I can just say, oh, that's that key. Your attraction field, this one I happen to know because it's my life's work key. You have a second line. And the second line, you being a 2-4, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 second lines throughout your profile. And the second line is generally about mirroring. people will see within you a reflection of themselves. And in your attraction field, you have style is the gift. And style, my interpretation of this as I've studied it for myself, is uniquely being who you are. Fuck everybody else, telling you what you're supposed to be, who you should be, how you're supposed to act. You are you, and that is what draws people to you. That's your attractor. And the second line talks about lust being on the negative side and passion being on the positive side. So passionately being who you are. And it also deals with sexual energy. What is found attractive, what others find attractive. From there, we go into the IQ. That's the sphere. Most people know what IQ is, your intelligence. You have a line 2 there as well. I have a line 2 as in that place as well, and it's the brilliant mind. And within being brilliant, you can also be very provocative. And the gift for you is understanding. I don't know what the key is, but my guess is if the gift is understanding, the shadow is probably confusion, not understanding. And that you develop your IQ from about, I think it's 13 to 21 in your developmental stages, and it's built on what you were before that, which is where you developed your emotional EQ. The EQ is the only place you have a fifth line. I'm a 5-1, I'm a fifth line person, so I'm real familiar with fifth line. The fifth line in your intelligent or emotional talks about respect and also disrespect. How things emotionally, and that will deal with whatever key you have there. In my reading, I have the 24th key there. So that's why it's real significant for me. And also in the last part of the sequence, which you also have it, but in a different spot. The one thing about fifth lines is that it gets projected on a lot. People will see what they want to, not necessarily what is. And that affects you emotionally, especially because you have all open centers. You're going to be picking up on what other people's emotions are, and they're also going to be projecting them at you. That is the developmental stage from like 13. Now, as we go back to the SQ, again, you have a second line. And the SQ is sort of like your soul development. It's the easiest way to describe it. And the second line is about freedom. And I look at freedom, it says either wildness or boundaries in subtext. I have the 55th gene key, which is like one of the major things in the gene keys, which is about that victim pattern versus freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So is this making sense?
No, it is. It is. Yeah.
And you have innovation there as the gift. Well, considering you have invention twice and innovation twice as some of your gifts, newness kind of comes through you, different ways of doing things. And the core wound is sort of like what you brought here from your ancestry, the DNA of your ancestry. That wound is a first line, and it deals with production and originality. That kind of goes hand in hand with invention and innovation. The gift there is precision. And like I said, that key is also the beginning of the final sequence, which is called Get Called Away.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't yet studied the last sequence. I've been doing this stuff for about 4 or 5 years. So that key holds. Oop, I had that backwards. That what I read to you is not about the core wounding. That's the second part of it, going into your pearl. The core wound is about depression. And the healing of depression is honesty. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
I can't. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Yeah. So the healing, you said the healing of depression is honesty. Yeah.
And what I was saying, precision is still the gift, but production and originality have to do with your vocation. I don't want to say money, but the last piece is how you take all of these gifts and how you can create prosperity for yourself, abundance. So in the culture, you have invention again. It's that 24th gene key. So that's going to have to do in some way with your prosperity. For me, I have that in the pearl. In the pearl, you have the eighth gene key again, which is style. So it's about the shadow there is mediocrity, and the gift within it is style. And it's called exquisiteness is its highest vibration there. So it has to do with style. It's not about what you wear or how you decorate your house. It's just about you uniquely being you.
Yeah.
And whatever that is your style. You don't have to change it or take outside influences. You already are. And the life's work, vocation, culture all lead into the pearl. I can't speak a whole lot more about that because I haven't yet studied that piece of it. But that's it.
Wow. What I know from I typed up some notes. I don't know if you probably heard me hecking, but this is going to be, the more I read the book and refer to different resources online, have conversations with you, this is gonna be kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. I can already tell that, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can
But
go
you
as
definitely,
deep. You can go as deep or as shallow as you want. But if you want to go
yeah,
deep, it's like get a scuba license, get the tank, be ready because it can
yeah.
go real, real deep.
I I I need to go deep because as much um, spiritual understanding that I've had in this life, it hasn't served me, and I think it's because I've not listened. I've not done the things that I need to be doing. I've tried to fit into this pattern instead of forging my own way and creating my own, um, vehicle for growth, spiritual growth, economic growth. But I need to the innovation thing, the way it came up and invention. It just made me really understand that the ideas that I have in my head, I need to ground them and make them happen. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I get downloads all the time. I've been a serial entrepreneur pretty much my whole life. And that's for me when figuring out, like we were conversing before about, okay, I'm not like other people. I've
yeah,
always known I'm different. I'm totally cool with being different. I just didn't know I actually function slightly different than other people.
yeah, yeah,
I'm a Tesla
yeah.
versus GM or a Ford. We can still get from A to B, but I got to plug in.
You know, today, and this is how silly little ideas come to me. But today I was riding down the street and I saw a guy standing on the side of the street. Well, he was parked in the middle of the street, in an island in the turning middle lane, and he had a big bull rope in his hand. I
A
don't know
big
what he was
what?
about to do, like a thick bull, like a rope,
Oh, okay.
the big old plate. Yeah, we called them bull ropes when I was a kid because they were thick and you would use them to literally to do a bull or to help move a bull from one place to another. Um, but
Where did you grow up?
Yanceyville, North Carolina. Yeah, my uncles
Okay.
raised cows. Yeah, they raised pigs. I've seen a lot of that stuff. So, but the thought that came to my mind was um, the jumper cables that are enclosed in a big bull rope. Just not even for any reason other than the aesthetics of it. And when I saw that, I was like, people will buy that like hotcakes. People will buy that, and such a silly idea to me. But just seeing the jumper cables looking like a big bull rope, I know for a fact that there is a type of person